Now we're on.
We're live. The Mutt and Jeff show right here. uh, my name is Patrick and I'm an alcoholic. That's, well, this is my dear daughter, a woman I love much. She works for Nike. I'm trying to get Phil Knight to fund Heartspace so we can teach people to play, not build monuments to egos. And when you got too much money, it's best to give it away because you can't take a damn thing with you. So what's that?
Should we siege?
Smudge. My daughter here is gonna burn some purification, get us all cypress. This is really good stuff. We burn a little cypress in there. And then my birthday yesterday, I had a party. And I didn't realize it got dark because I don't wear a watch. So I never know what time it is. That's Indian time. Time is art. So my sweet, I need to drink some water here. So why don't you catch him up on this is your final walk around the wheel.
Oh, we got Bob All.
Where's my ball? Where's Hopkins, Minnesota? That's my buddy Ball. He sells more drums for me than anybody else in the country. At least he's halfway on. So, turned 85 yesterday. And I go to bed early. They changed the damn clock. So I usually go to bed at 7, which is 6, and this class doesn't start till 6:30. So I'm in the hardest phase to create because they say, every night we die. We go back to spirit. And that's a non-progressive great spirit. And there's nowhere to get to. You live today good, that's all you got. Tomorrow is just a dream. You don't even know you're going to wake up. So some people say, well, one of these days I'll play, but I've got to work now. So what is insanity? Which is AA's first step. We were powerless over alcohol. Our lives were unmanageable. Second step, came to believe that a power greater than us could restore us to sanity. So if you look up the word sanity, what does that mean? Sane. So the dark side of sanity is crazy, the lunatic. So we're on a full moon tonight, which is Bob, where are you?
I'm right here.
I
Did I,
can't
dis-
see you.
did I disappear?
You never appeared.
Well, I've been seeing you from the start.
Well, I can't see you.
Well, see, that's what happens when you get old, like you are.
You in a snow, the dark night of the soul there.
Something, I don't know what's going on here.
What? Tell him what to do, dude.
Turn on your camera.
I'm looking for it.
Bottom left.
Bottom left?
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't look like the microphone. It looks like a little video camera.
Okay.
There he is, at least the top of his head.
Well, you should have asked me. I could have told you.
Here's Willie Nelson.
Well, it helps to have a shiny head.
So, so bring it down so I can see you. Bring it down a little bit. So my buddy Bob is, I'd say, one of my best friends, because he's been doing these classes forever, or at least a long time.
Long time.
And they set them damn clocks back. Now I'm trying to adjust to this new time. I mean, I don't wear a watch. I've got, on my left arm, I've got a red string. That's Kabbalistic, the Kabbalah, which is also the tree. So Ashley showed me her artwork.
Ah,
Got some beautiful artwork. That's the indigenous view that time is not money, time is art.
time is art.
So what are you creating? Like I make a drum, I'm 85 and I'm still creating. Because when you start atrophying, I told Ashley to draw with her left hand. So she was creating with her right side, because she's smart as hell. So she knows how to survive. But her creative little girl is in her left side. This gets left out. So if you don't use it, you lose it and it atrophies. So we gotta stay childlike, not childish. So for my birthday yesterday, I got over 100 happy birthdays, but a lot of them were AI generated. 'Cause now that's the latest thing the rich want to use, AI, artificial intelligence. That's like military intelligence or wildlife management or oxymorons. So, because I tried to run my life and guess what happened? It was unmanageable. So I said, I give up, I quit, I surrender. I can't drink anymore. I'm whipped, I'll go to any length. So if you ain't been on your butt a few times, you ain't worth your salt. Like I dealt with a lot of rich people because I was a fundraising consultant before I became a drum maker. I was making $300,000 a year and spending $300,000 a year. But was I happy? I had a lot of toys. I had a folder that says, "He with the most toys wins." So, and then I have another folder that says, "Christ is coming back and is he pissed?" So what the church has done to spirituality is it's like the Old Testament bullshit. But Jesus was a Jew. He didn't write the Bible. People wrote the Bible. So my older brother Mike is Phil Knight's age, 87, I believe. So I celebrated his birthday. I sent him ham and told him I loved him and he was my hero. Because if you got a big brother like you had a big brother that crossed over, mine's still alive. So I always followed in my brother's footsteps and I loved him very much. what he did, I'd do too. He went to military school, so I went to military school. But I was always in trouble. He knew how to take an engine apart and put it back together. I didn't even know how to change oil or anything. So I'm learning that stuff now because I got a truck out there that I'm now learning mechanics. Because I graduated from high school without ever taking physics or chemistry. So I was a bad boy, always getting in trouble. My brother had a camera club when he was in military school. So I took over the camera club and collected all the dues and then didn't have any more meetings. So in my college or my high school yearbook, it says, Patrick, president of a non-existing camera club. So, but I ran because my brother liked to run track. So he ran the 880 and I ran the 440. And we'd run the relays, you know, where you run one lap and then pass the baton to somebody else and then they take over. So that's competition. So I've got on my website, competition is the chief thing that separates spirituality from religion. My religion's fly fishing.
Wait, repeat that again? Competition is the thing that separates religion from spirituality.
Yes.
Mm.
So people start the Bible thumpers in AA. You don't drink even if your ass falls off. You gotta keep working the damn steps. Read the first 164 pages of the big book. We are like actors on the stage, driven by 100 forms of self-delusion. So take off the masks. That's the false face societies. Say, how am I looking? How many followers do I have? We're always looking, am I ahead? I don't give a shit how many followers I have. It's like I don't do it for anybody else but me. And if I'm by myself when Ashley's not here, the show goes on. When I joined the church, because I was very angry at the church because I was raised Southern Baptist. And I got an AA sponsor and he said, tell me about your higher power. I'll tell you about this punishing God. He said, hell, nobody can stay sober with a higher power like that.
I love that.
He says, I said, well, you have something I want, because his wife had a stroke and he was changing her diaper every day. I said, my God, that must be hard. He says, no, hell, she took care of me when I was drunk. So I'm grateful I'm in the shape now to take care of her. I said, that man has something I want. So he said, stay out of relationships for the first year of your sobriety. You work on your inventory, because if you're in a relationship, you'll be taking other people's inventories. But an inventory is an assessment of, this is what my light is, and this is what my dark is. My shadow, my beauty, my beast. My sweet wife made a medicine wheel mat that we got out of here. Because I love the candles that going into the darkness, like Carl Jung says, we're going into the dark night of the soul on a full moon tonight. This is where the lunatics come out. That's when, if you ever saw that movie, Queen of Hearts, about World War I, when the Germans bombed the insane asylum and all the inmates escaped and took over the city. So the parody was, who was really crazy, the lunatics or the soldiers.
Yeah.
So we fight everything. We fight, like if you listen to people's language, she lost her battle with cancer.
Yeah.
So it's like in recovery, they say, quit fighting, give up, cease fire. But there's big bucks in war. And even our language, like I was asking Ashley, because she's creating art, very beautiful. She showed me her art. That's amazing. That's she's savage. So you go in the kindergarten and you say, how many in here are artists? Ever hand will go up. You go into the third grade, say, how many in here are artists? You might see one hand go up. But everything we need to know, we learned in kindergarten. It was a great book. Become childlike, not childish. So we had a sweet little girl that I loved that threw a tantrum last night at my birthday party. And she actually, I did 12 years of Lynn Andrews' gatherings. She wrote several books like Jaguar Woman, Medicine Woman, Flight of the Seventh Moon. And she was an amazing writer. They were best-selling books. So they wanted to do a drum making, so they hired me to make drums. So 250 women created drums. And I showed them how to do it. And I had 6 assistants to help me. So I was the drum god. They had another drum maker that they didn't like very well. But she was a prima donna, Lynn Andrews. I didn't have time for her. But Mandy and I would go down to Joshua Tree, California, and do those shows. That's where she was an LA woman, movie star. She'd bring all of her choreographers and her drummers. And at the end of the gathering, she'd be selling everything. Here's a recap of the weekend. Buy your tapes and you can replay them all you want. I said, that woman knows how to market. But I didn't have time for it. I got to spend 16 years going every year, and I was selling more drums with 250 people than I was doing shows where millions of people were coming. I was doing the Mill Avenue Merchants Association down in Mesa, or in Arizona, because my dad lived in Carefree or Arizona, and I got drunk at my dad, and I was a bad boy. I was the second born, just like Bob. He had an older brother, and his older brother was gay, I believe, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's gay.
Yeah. And he didn't give a shit about money, so he'd got $25,000 checks that he hadn't even cashed yet. So his brother came in and took over the estate, but he had more damn books than I now have, so I've got my library doubled, because my buddy Bob Hall, he's the best chicken cooker I ever saw in my life. So I made some chicken soup. We just ate some before this class started. Did we smudge?
We did.
How about the sweetgrass?
No.
Let's do some sweetgrass. Oh. Smudge is out breath. I'll let go. Sweetgrass is called in spirit. I let go of fear. I call in love. Tip not on. Breathe. So if you ever read the book Braiding Sweetgrass, I know Bob did. You did?
I bought it. That's the
haven't
first
read
step.
I gave you some books too.
You did. That's the first step.
This rich woman here is gonna owe me about 10% of her income. Cause you gotta tithe, that's what they Mormons do. Cause my dentist was a Mormon. And we traded dental work for counseling his daughter, who was a complete mess. As a Mormon. I say, you can have many wives as you can take care of, but hell, I have a hard time taking care of myself, much less a woman. So, about the time I quit chasing women, one came. The women are cats, and then are dogs. Bob Hall had a dog.
I did.
That'd take him walking every day. So, gotta walk the dog. That was a yo-yo thing, walk the dog.
Yeah, there was. Walk the dog. I've forgotten about that.
Well, I haven't. How about crow's foot and double crow's foot and Jacob's ladder?
Yeah.
You do with your hand.
Yeah.
So Bob can't make a drum, but he sure sells a lot of them.
Well, I made one drum, even though you put your name in there falsely. I can see him plotting his response.
Every year I get sample Christmas cards. I just send them out and say, put your logo here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So let's go buy a gift from China and then fill up that tree with presents.
That's right.
But Christmas is actually about giving your total presence of what's in front of you. Play. So I did a year's worth of play shops. I says, I commit to showing up every time. If I'm the only one there, it wasn't supposed to happen. But I'll show up. So I do these classes, the one into the winter solstice, which is the air. And so I'm Scorpio. So Scorpio is Cancer. What are the three water signs? Pisces and Scorpio.
Okay.
Cancer.
Bob is air.
Yeah.
So I was a scuba diver, and so was Glenn. Glenn was here last night at my birthday.
Ah.
And Glenn is an amazing man. He's raising his son because his mother says, all he does is play on the damn computer and sleep all day. I want you to take care of him. So he's taking care of his boy. He's working for Jeff Bezos at Amazon, making $20 an hour or something. Jeff Bezos has, my God, billions and billions, just like Phil Knight.
Yeah.
And so my uncle was my mentor. My dad, I got drunk at. But I had to move 2,000 miles away from my dad. Because back in West Virginia, I was Froggy Penton's boy. They didn't know who Pat Penton was. Oh, you're Froggy's boy. I says, well, who in the fuck am I without being my father's? So I came out here to be with my uncle. And he'd go into these nonprofits and he'd say, well, what's Mr. Fundraiser got to tell us? He says, I'll tell you what, I tell 3 out of 4 people no. You ain't got enough money to hire me. I'll work with you, but I ain't working for you. So Nike approached me about doing a workshop for their design management department, because I met them down there when I was doing shows at the Rose Festival. That's when the Navy boys come upstream to spawn. So the birth rate in Portland goes wide open when the sailors come up, get off their boats, Rose Festival. And the sailors, Bob Hall is a sailor. He's a water sign, air and water. So Aries is fire. My sister here is Aries. You want something done, she'll start it because she's smart. But she's now getting balance because the world is full. I was posting, I've got signs all over my house. Like, what's that one up there say?
You can be a good person with a kind heart and still say no.
You can be a good person with a kind heart and still say no.
Right.
Somebody says, how much you take for Cedar Mountain drums? I said, it ain't for sale. That reminds me of that story my dad told. He liked to bird hunt with his buddies back in West Virginia. So he always had dogs. But he's a fire sign, so he had Dobermans and Terriers. He had fighting dogs. And he had an arsenal. He had AK-47s and everything else. And he followed beauty, but he screwed my mother, who's a Virgo, and she couldn't stand up to him. But he married a Scorpio that was my stepmom, Bejo. And she said, Patrick, you've got charisma. What is charisma?
Charm. Magnetism.
What's a horseshoe? Is that Lucky Charm? What's a 4-leaf clover?
Energy.
Irish. The Irish were the leprechauns, the little ones, the wee ones. Says, you want to see the dragons, you go tickle the water. And the dragonflies come. So I'm a dragon. You're born in 1940. And my sister here is 39 years old, so she's still in the moon time. You know, the moon, the cycle of the moon. That's the lunatics come out on the full moon and howl. So
Give us a demonstration.
I got myself a good Leo woman because I didn't chase her. Every woman I chased came to bad news. I finally ran into a predator woman and it sued me tried to bankrupt me. I survived this. And natives have taught me that your children aren't your children. Their future is not your future. Because we all go back to spirit every night. We fall asleep. We fall in love. That's called the fool. Only the fool falls in love. women, the scent of a woman is irresistible, especially an ovulating woman. It's called desire. Men in the life of desire. So I came out here and started studying with Robert Bly, Michael Mead, and James Hillman. And they did a symposium called Men and the Life of Desire. It says, what is brotherly love? I say, I love Bob, but I don't want to sleep with him. So it's
Thank God.
love. So loving your brother. What is having good friends? And my uncle, on his 80th birthday, said, I'll tell you what it is to be rich. Because people that had billions back then would hire Don Benson. Says, you want to raise money, I won't be involved unless you hire Don Benson. The president of Georgia Pacific would call Don and say, well, you want to do lunch? He said, yeah, come on over. He said, everybody's intimidated by me. Nobody invites me to lunch because, so he raised hundreds of millions of dollars and he was a Baptist preacher. And he'd always say, I'll help you for free. If you're going to hire me, it's going to cost you big money. And if I call a meeting and you don't show up, I quit. So I'll be just as committed as you are to your project, but no more committed than you are. So I hit bottom in 1971, and I spent years going down. They say alcoholism is a one-way elevator down. So if Donald Trump would learn how to wash dishes or do something constructive with his time rather than building ballrooms. But I was a bridge player. Now Bob was Texas, he's San Antonio, Texas. So,
Texas Hold'em.
and he had a wife that he tended to, just like my sponsor. Says he watched her die slowly, but he tended to her. Says, so I heard early in from some prophets that people don't die, they give up living. Hopelessness is what kills. So my younger brother says, I've got cancer. I says, well, give it back.
Good advice.
I said, what's eating you? And what the hell are you eating? So I'm a good cook. I actually just ate some of my chicken soup. The soul is chicken soup. That's a great book, Chicken Soup for the Soul. How you make Italian chicken soup is first you steal a chicken. That's a joke, guys. So, there's 4 bones you gotta keep open. What are they, Ashley?
Funny bone. Backbone. I don't know what any other bone. Wishbone. And your boner.
And the hollow bone. Not the boner.
I put that in for you.
Little boys, they're afraid they're gonna have a hard on when they perform. Like I used to get massages, and my sister sailed with Jimmy Buffett. She lived over in the Virgin Islands, San Juan. Not San Juan, but where was it? Margaritaville. St. John's, the Virgin Islands, St. John, St. Thomas. And she sailed with Jimmy Buffett. Wasted away in Margaritaville. So over there, they're on the island time. So I said, could I get a massage? She says, yeah, I'll call my friend. She's a massage therapist. I said, what time's she coming? When she gets here? I said, well, I need to organize. So I didn't know when she's coming. Finally, she showed up. She said, okay, take your clothes off. It's okay if you get a hard on. It won't bother me a bit. I said, oh my God. So I got an amazing massage because she was a beautiful, I learned about island time or Indian time. So the Alamo was Davy Crockett, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dave Crockett.
Was it Davy Crockett?
Yes,
He was Quaker.
he was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The Quakers were consensus decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to a friend's church, everybody sits in silence. If somebody feels moved to get up and talk,
Yeah.
but there ain't no preacher. Because and Carolyn Estes was who I learned consensus from. That's the AA way. AA says there ain't no leaders, there's only trusted servants. So I was doing fundraising for this New Thought Church because when my 12-step clubhouse that I was the president of, the Alamo Club, burned down, didn't burn completely down, but I raised the money to reinstate it. But I thought, I was going to 3 meetings a day. I said, I'm addicted to AA meetings. I said, so my support group went up in flames. And I started going to meetings over at the Jewish synagogue, which is right next behind the Alamo Club. And I remember what my sponsor said. He said, tell me about your God. And I told him about this Southern Baptist God. And he said, hell, nobody can stay sober with a God like that. He says, I'll tell you what God is, it's love. I tell Ashley I love her. I tell Bob I love you. So if you love, loving is circulating. That's Thich Nhat Hanh. That's Bob and I listened to Mr. What's his name? That has the Institute for Shamanic Studies down in San Francisco, Michael Harner. So he does shamanism classes. And I enrolled, so I went through the Michael, and he bought rattles from me. And he said, I want the handle perfectly straight, and I want them this way. So I started selling him rattles, and then he was selling them. And then I finally said, I'm not going to sell rattles anymore to you, because he was a perfectionist, but he was also wrote one of the greatest books I'd ever, The Way of the Shaman, which is an amazing book. But it's actually the Shea woman. It's a Shea woman, the shaman. The drummers were originally women. So I'm a drum maker. Over in England, they'd say tailor is the name. That means they made clothes. Tailor. Cooper means they were a cooper. That was their trade. So usually they named not after going to college, but what's your trade? Like my grandpa would say, what do you do for a living? He says, I sell insurance. He says, what the hell's that? He says, well, you give me money now and I'll pay you later. He says, get the hell out of here. You're a damn flim-flam man. Insurance. He says, why don't you learn to work? So my grandpa would say, let me see your pocket knife. Well, we had that somebody at my birthday party, Glenn. He was smudging everybody off as they came in last night. And I think there's 6 people here. My sweetheart, Mandy, Ashley, Glenn, another man that offered me this tobacco right here. This is from North Dakota, plain sage. And then my sister here went over to Tibet and brought me back some cypress. I said, buy me some Tibetan bowls. She went and came back and says, they don't make Tibetan bowls in Tibet. I said, what? They're made in Nepal. So the Himalayas are the man energy. The Andes are the Pachamama, the sacred mother. And they're the second highest peaks. So our planet is balanced with the positive and negative, and it spins. So we live on a ball. It's called a planet. And when you rape the mother, mother gets angry. So many women have been abused and put down until they're left out. So I started, it's not man or woman, we're both and. We've got magic and we've got logic. So my sister here is smart as hell. She knows how to run everything on this computer. Hell, she set up the 7 classes I'm going to do. And what I'd planned is, Ashley, tell us, this is your last cycle. So she started in the winter. And she did the winter, the spring equinox, the summer solstice, and the autumn equinox, which is the fall, which is the mirror. So the mirror is, rather than pass the talking stick, we pass the mirror, and you look at yourself and you say, I love you. Because if I tell you I love you, that's because I love me. If you don't love yourself, it's coming from a little wounded boy, not an authentic place. So, have you ever gone up on a woman? Why do we always go down or fall? And that's a fool. So, I have a Christmas tree up. I keep it up all year because that's the sacred tree. So we give our presents and we take the magic mushrooms and we fly. That's Santa. And then reindeers would eat those hallucinogen mushrooms and they'd fly. And every time the hippies were eating out in the cow pastures, getting the mushrooms and then eating them and then tripping out. So Terrence McKenna, Dennis McKenna, Abby Hoffman, and Bill Wilson. Bill Wilson took LSD And he thought, my God, everyone needs to take medicine, the real medicine. He says, I was addicted to competition. I was a stockbroker in New York. No matter how much money I had, I wanted more. That's called the pig. The pig's ignorance. So the cock is pride, and the snake is desire. So, what are defects of character? Because in 12-step recovery, it says, some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the results were nil until we let go absolutely. So that means fall, like you're in chaos, the fall. So the fall is the going within time. Because all love has to come from, like Gene Houston wrote this great book, In Search of the Beloved. It says we chase love rather than finding the love in ourselves and letting that manifest. That's called charisma. It's also called sanity. But you got to go crazy first. So crazy woman is the dark side of rainbow woman. I got this from Lynn Andrews. She wrote a book about Agnes and Ruby, Plenty chiefs, these Indians. And all the true Indians says, oh, she's just a fake shaman. She's just a Hollywood starlet making a lot of money. So I did 12 years of shows at Lynn Andrews and made more money at 250 people than I did with these shows with millions of people coming. And I realized you have to rifle shots who you hang out with. My dad had a sign in his office that says, if there's anything I hate, it's people. If you got no appointments, you can do any damn thing you want to. I still draw, make art. I've been keeping my journal since I got sober. My sponsor says, write out your 4-step. What's the 4-step? You do a fearless and searching inventory of yourself and stay out of relationships for a year. Because if you're in a relationship, you'll start taking their inventory. Well, get that mirror. That's the West. So I saw this little girl throw a tantrum last night. She showed up. And I thought, oh. And they taught me you don't have to like them, but you gotta love them. Say AA is where you love the unlovable. They try everything else, and when everything else fails, they come to an AA meeting. So if they think their way's still working, like I used to go to AA meetings and say, you guys don't have that one way to stay sober. They wouldn't argue with me. They'd say, well, if you found a way, namaste. We found a way where alcohol plays no part. And we're happy, and we're joyous, and we're free. Because freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Chris Christopherson, Janis Joplin. I stayed at Joshua Tree, the Joshua Tree Inn where Graham Parsons died, committed suicide. And I didn't know who in the hell Graham Parsons was. But he was a great singer from Hollywood. And that Joshua Tree National Monument is just magical. They've got petroglyphs. The south end of Joshua Tree is Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. The Bob Hope Desert Classic. So there are four places you go to heal your soul. What are those?
The mountain, the ocean, I forget,
Desert.
desert, and forest.
The deep forest. So I bought Bear Creek because it's private land up there. They couldn't get to it. So I said, wow, I'm gonna take care of these trees. Because I didn't even know where the property lines were. I bought two 20-acre, 10-acre plots. And I bought them from one of them rich lumber logging companies, the Birkenfields, or the Hagwalls. So they have a center there in Stevenson called the Hagwall Center. And all the rich people are on the Chamber of Commerce, and they post all the legal notices. And they have river boats coming in from Portland, and they got these paddle boats that go from Portland to Stevenson. So west of the Rockies, all the water flows to the Pacific. East of the Rockies, all the water flows towards the Mississippi, or towards the Mississippi. So up where Bob is, lives up there around that Red River country. So I used to run up and down that place in Fargo, North Dakota, which is right across the street from Moorhead, Minnesota. And I was doing a campaign for the Lutheran Church in America. I was working with the bishop to raise $100 million. And my uncle told me how to raise money. He says, you don't raise it, rich people make things happen. It ain't the poor people. You go into a rich man's garage and it's empty. You go into a poor man's garage, you can't get another damn thing in it. So, what do you value? How do you keep your own house in order? So, I'm a rich man, poor man, bigger man, thief. But Bob and I read a similar book called Lynn Twist. She was with Mother Teresa, and she wrote a book called, what was the name of that book, Bob?
The soul of money. Soul of money.
And she says there's 3 spells that are put on us.
What's it called? The soul of money?
The soul of money.
Yeah.
And she went to visit Mother Teresa. She was the fundraiser for the World Hunger Project. She said all these guys in turbans would come into Mother Teresa's office and pick her up and say, somebody take a picture of me and Mother Teresa. And she says, my God, how could you let those people treat you that way? And she says, oh, they're just wounded little boys, but they helped me with my orphanage, because she would only attend to the ones everybody else had given up on. That's the Sisters of Mercy. It's the Julian of Northrop. So in Irish lore, Julian of Northrop was a woman, because they had Gaia, who had her vagina all spread it out. That's a pagan symbol that were in all the churches, because Christians were trying to convert the pagans into Christianity. So you had the holy wars. But Mother Teresa was, so she said there's 3 spells. First spell is There's not enough. I don't have enough. I used to ask people, you want to come play? I don't have time. I gotta work. What is time? Time is art. I've got a master in the arts, not a master in the science. But Mr. Hall is a very educated man. And I like educated men, well-read men, not with a bunch of books on the wall that they hadn't read. That was my dad. I read every book in his library. And Atlas Shrugged. Remember that book?
Should have been shot. Should have been burned.
What's that?
I said it should have been burned.
The Firing Line.
It's a great book.
Buckley.
It's a great book.
Atlas Shrugged.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful book. I was mesmerized by that book. But the Peter Principle, that one.
Yeah, Peter Principle. Who was that?
What was the Peter Principle?
Everybody gets promoted to their area of incompetence or to the level of incompetence.
Somebody's doing something well, you promote them into something they can't do. So my uncle said, you never get the volunteers to do a fundraising for you. Who wants to do fundraising? I do. He says, people don't give to causes, they give to people. Causes never raise a penny. And right now, everybody wants my money. I was in the SAE fraternity. Now they say, we would need your year-end giving for the Red Cross needs your money. Donate blood. So I was an ARH negative, and I sold my blood. I was picking cucumbers out in Solstice Island because I was buying cheap wine just to get drunk and picking cucumbers. That was my bottom. I refinished the Pioneer Courthouse down there when you could buy a brick, the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall. So one of the books I read was back south, the men live in the woman's house. Like the old joke says, what do you call a snowboarder without a girlfriend? Homeless. So I could always find a woman to take me in. Even when I was at my lowest, there's always some woman that would bring me in and take care of me. That's the Sisters of Mercy. No matter how far down you go, if you're supposed to die, you'll die. But people don't die, they just give up living. So there's 5 levels of giving. I learned this from somebody else. But it's a principle that I live my life by. There's giving because people ask. Like if I go up to Bear Creek at 50 miles east of here, Heartspace. I got this beautiful land right next to a creek you can drink right out of. I got a well. But in the winter it freezes. I'm on the Pacific Crest Trail where Wild was filmed. That's the song lines of the Aboriginals. Say it might be right through a Safeway store. The song lines, you walk the line. That's the male. That was Johnny Cash one, and I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. Because you're mine, I walk the line. So that's linear is the masculine. It's do. The woman is be. Say, what are you doing today? I'm not doing. I'm being. I'm drawing art. That's what this lady's doing. She's a beautiful woman. She's smart as a whip. She's now getting her magic. 'Cause, I made $300,000 a year and I was spending it. So it's real easy to adjust your standard of living to your income. What are you going to do with all that money? You can't take any of it with you. So on his 80th birthday, my uncle said, I'll tell you what it means to be rich. He says, if you can count your friends on one hand, you're a rich man. He says, you can have all them billions and doesn't make any difference how many different zeros you have after your I'm worth. There's 5 levels of giving. Feeding the hungry, that's the lowest level. Somebody says, you got an extra cigarette? And I said, no, there's only 20 in this pack. If I find the 21st, I'll give it to you. Go ahead, spare change? No, it's all accounted for. So, you go to Dublin and they'll have the muses out there, the musicians, and they start playing on the streets. People start throwing money in their hat. Because the leprechauns, the Irish were the coal miners. They got the Scots and the Irish and the Chinese to mine the coals and the gold mines. They didn't want to go down in those dungeons, go down into the earth. My dad was never at a coal mine, but he made millions in the coal business. But he was a broker. He was paying off the buyer of the coal, taking him on a cruise on his big yacht, living down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Had a big yacht right behind his house. And I would go down and visit him. But he married my stepmom, who was a Scorpio. And my older sister that brought me that M.C. Escher book. Have you ever looked at M.C. Escher's work? It's art, but it's got black and white, how they're all interconnected. So,
I was thinking you were talking about a different artist, not Escher. That's why I said he was creepy. Because I was thinking of H.R. Geiger.
no, this
Do you
is
remember that?
M.C.
You know
Escher.
that guy Escher? Yes, he does the hands that go like this.
So he's got a crystal ball up
Yeah.
there with his reflection, and
Yes.
he's got it drawn.
I see. Yeah, I remember now.
And then he has stairs that keep going down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that one.
And the hand that's drawing itself.
Yeah, the hand is drawing itself. So my sister was a clairvoyant, and she lived down there in Thousand Oaks, California, and she was a paralegal. And she died of breast cancer. I loved my sister. I was 13, and we used to call her Fro-Fro, because she'd run around in that little stroller when she's just a kid. And she fell down the basement stairs, rode it all the way down to the bottom. And I was only 12 years old when she was born. Because it wasn't my mother. I didn't get to live with my mother unless I had to go to Cincinnati because she was a Pratt, not Irish, Scottish. Pratt's. They had a general store in West Virginia. And back there, all the guys had come into the general store because they had an old potbelly stove there. They'd sit around all day. None of them worked. They was drawing welfare. So my dad says, well, nobody was working. Hell, the government's paying them all. Says, we want independence. So he went down to Kentucky and got with the independent mine operators. Yes, the price of coal back then was 50 cents a ton. So when he started, and then all of a sudden the price of coal went to $50 a ton. And all those good old boys down there in the coal fields got rich. And then all the New Yorkers came down there and wanted to buy the mines. And says, you know by their names whether to trust them or not, because you go to the country, says, who's your dad? And who's his dad? Say, know you by your name. If your name was Vance, says you can't trust them damn Vances. They're bad blood. A lot of them are inbred. Because back there, the Powlaws are meant to bring new blood in, but the Hatfields, my people were Hatfields. They had a feud with the McCoys. McCoys lived in Kentucky and the Hatfields lived in West Virginia as Devil Ants Hatfields. He says, you come across my land, you're going to have to answer to me and my boys. He had about 7 sons, Devil Ants. But the coal mines poisoned all the rivers in West Virginia because they'd put that coal slurry. They'd have the coal running into coal cars. My job working for my dad was getting up on top of them coal cars and getting the sample as it's coming off the belt and taking it to the lab and getting it analyzed. You bought coal to make steel. So Pittsburgh was known for steel. The Steelers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles. So Philadelphia was the birthplace of Benjamin Franklin. So out here in Portland, we had Benjamin Franklin Savings and Loan back when I moved to Portland. And my uncle had his son, Butch, or Bob. He was my best friend. I was his best man at his wedding, and he was my best man at my wedding, to Mandy. And he was strong as a bull, and he was left-handed. But he played golf right-handed. So I started playing golf left-handed. And I'd get out on the golf course and take 2 clubs. One I hit with my right side, and the second one was my left side. So if you have balance, that's my book, Both Hand, from either or to both hand. You're either male or woman, there ain't no middle ground. No, the Native Americans had the Burdash. That was the gay women that taught men how to access the feminine energy. And the gay men would show the males how to access their magical side. Money didn't mean too much to them. Back to Lynn Twist, she says the 3 spells are, there's not enough, more is better. In the third spell, well, that's just the way it is. What about, that's just the way I am. I don't have enough. I'll come to your play shop when I got time. Right now I'm too busy. What are you writing down?
Well, okay, this pen does work.
There's
There's never enough.
not enough.
More is better.
More is better.
Uh-huh.
That's just the way it is. So I was doing play shops. Can Ashley come over and play? No, I'm too busy. I gotta go to work. But she worked at Nike. So she was in the design department of Nike. Phil Knight has about billions of dollars. And I said, how can I get Phil Knight to give me some money? Because competition is addiction. Like, we got the Oregon Ducks are ranked number something. He built Steve Prepon and the Oregon Ducks, and that's down in Eugene, right? Mm-hmm. Go down to Corvallis, you got the Beavers. Mm-hmm. So this is the beaver state. What medicine does the beaver have? Knows how to make a dam.
It doesn't give a damn.
When we say, God damn it, that means Creator, stop the flow. So we build the Bonneville Dam and the Dow's Dam, and those salmon can't get upstream to where they come from. So in the West, we all go back to the mighty Pacific at Astoria. Astoria is called the bar. Getting across that bar out into the ocean. It's where the sailors come, like Mr. Hall, because he was an officer.
And a gentleman. No, never one.
You join the Navy to see the world. And what do you see? You see the sea. You see the Atlantic isn't as romantic, and the Pacific's not as terrific as they all.
One of the most beautiful sights in the world is just to be out to sea when it's calm, and you just see this blue.
Yeah.
The rich color.
The rich.
360 degrees.
The ocean is a great teacher.
It is.
It's like they got these UFOs coming in and going down in the ocean.
Yeah, but you never want to piss off the ocean.
Well, you don't want,
when it comes after.
You don't want to piss off a woman either.
True. But those 30-foot waves, they kind of talk to you.
Well, that's where you go for your soul.
Yeah.
The ocean is, like I used to say, all this traffic on Burnside, I say just those were waves. So I'd see. So in the city,
it's got its own energy.
Everybody goes to the city, but cities weren't created for people. Cities were created for corporations. You got to go to work. So when I moved here in 1971, there was Janssen Swimwear.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they had all those women in there with sewing machines making swimwear. They weren't outsourcing things. Freightliner. I knew all those guys that owned the companies. The Glenn Jackson, they named him Bridge after him. I sponsored one of the NATO boys, and Sam and Bill NATO got a street down there named for them because they bought all the property in the old town, which is a place that nobody wanted to go, and then they renovated it and says, so all the rich lived up in the West Hills. So that's how I met Bob, because he had a beautiful home up there in Forest Park. And I used to run up at Forest Park. I used to have an apartment there at Lovejoy and 25th. Marshall. No, my apartment was Marshall. And I do groups in my home and with recovering people. And we had one of the guys that came to the meeting, and he wasn't talking much. I says, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah, I'm fine." He went home and killed himself. He put the car in the garage and shut all the doors and let it run until he died. I said, "Oh my God, how can we finish our relationship with him, because we loved him?" But he was a heroin addict. So I thank God I never got into heroin. My disease was alcoholism, not all these drugs they have now. But plants are not drugs. Like Ashley came in my store and I said, "Hi Ashley, are you?" She says, "Oh my God, how do you know I'm stoned?" She was the next one to know one. There's a book called Homo Ludens. High play. What's the source of play? Dogs love to play. Cats, well, cats will play too. I used to have a cat. My little girl's Leo, so I took her to the pound, and she adopted this black cat. It was a little thing, and I'd get one of them feather things and hold it, and it'd jump up for it, and I'd always keep it where it couldn't get it. I had a flashlight up. She started chasing that light. So I knew Corma. Corma was get down there in my store in my display cabinet, and that's where she wanted to be. Screwing up my store. She'd go into where the rats were, because we had chickens out there in our backyard. We was giving them food, and the rats were eating the food. We had a whole, that's like the ships from Europe always had rats on them. Those rats are survivors. They live in the worst possible conditions in sewers. But if you were born the year of the rat, that means you're a survivalist. People say rats are really clean. Like me and my buddy had a pet rat. We called it Thubert.
What do you call it? Thurber?
Thubert.
Thubert?
And me and Merlin Diddle were lifeguards out there in Cowboy Lingo State Forest. Because the state forest guy that was in charge of the state forest made moonshine, and he was drunk all the time. So we had to go up on the fire towers, and we was drunk as skunks. We had a pet snake in our room. The lifeguards were sitting up on the stand, and those people in the hills, a lot of them didn't know who the president was because they was all inbred. So the powwow was meant to bring new blood into the tribe. Because if you don't have new blood, you start inbreeding. That's what the royal family is. They don't marry anyone except family, the royal family. until Mr. What's his name, Epstein came along. And he had this, he's one of the richest men in the world. And he was raping all the young girls. And so, good friend of Donald Trump. So he became president so he could hide all the top secrets, you know. And because he thinks he's the king. So he wants to make Canada another state. He wants to invade. He's a warlord. So Glenn Twist says, ceasefire, peace. The peacemaker came. There's a beautiful book called The White Roots of Justice. It means back where I'm from, you lived in your mother's house, and then you moved into your wife's house because men didn't own property. If you give them property, they'd start a damn war. This is mine. And they'd hide. They were worried. Their ego said, I got a bigger dick than you do. But the women would play that because they raised the little boys. If you're a mother and you got a little boy, the worst thing you can do is call somebody a motherfucker. Buddy, they'll fight you. So, honor thy mother. That's Gaia. Lady Gaia. And I love women. I used to want to get them to bed, but this old Phoenix is an elder now, so I said, all that sparkles, all that glitters is not gold. So Miss Ashley made a trip to Tibet. At my party last night, we had the two Brits. We had the one that brought me all the balloons, the big cake about this big. Lord, I couldn't eat that. So I say, I got too much sweets, I gotta give it away. Because it doesn't take much to feed me, but I made some damn good chicken soup. That's good for your soul.
Good for you, though.
So we need a soul retrieval. That's when they go to the church, they don't talk about the soul. They talk about the mind, the body, and the spirit, the Trinity. That genuflex is 4. So when you take Hape, you go with your root chakra, your second chakra, your third chakra, your fourth chakra, your fifth chakra, your sixth chakra, your seventh chakra. And then your left side, your right side. And you are Wakan. You're born into blessing. You were born into love. And when we're young, we remember everything when we're in mother's belly. If she's having a hard time, that baby picks up all the emotions of mother. So if they're not allowed to come through the vagina and they're breech birthed, they become very hot and dry. So there's no wet and wild. It's all hot and dry. So the soul is water, and I'm double water, so I don't drink enough damn water. Most elders die of dehydration. Mandy drinks a lot of water. I make it, and then I forget to drink it. I'm getting better. Because now I drink water. Because I get too hot. And what time is it?
7:57.
My God. I've talked the whole damn time. Well, I'm going to stop and ask you guys to give me your nickel's worth. I forgot to turn this thing up. I don't know if you could even hear me because this
I can hear you.
the volume. But let's give our sister the mic. She's just completing the whole cycle of my teaching circle. Teaching of the north, teaching of the east, teaching of the south, teaching of the west, the soul, growing within time. So we light candles. We're going into the darkness. And they just turn the damn clocks back, or fall back.
I guess the thing that I like is that I like these 3 spells because I think I am under these spells and it's really good to hear them. And I guess, number 3, that's just the way it is. And I guess I would like to set the intention of going inward to see how other
Well,
ways.
to try it on for size.
What?
It is not,
It.
it's what I, substitute I for it.
I
That's
will.
the way I am. Not the way
Oh, that's
it
the
is.
way I am.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am.
Not
But
it.
so
It's a great book called The Book of the It.
yeah.
You can add a shh and become shit.
Well, no matter how many times I explain it to you, you know that it is a clown. It's not a.
Hey, okay.
Has nothing to do with this philosophical stuff. It's just
A clown.
Well,
So I want to go in, figure out what else.
you can't figure it out. The solution ain't in your head.
Just what?
The solution ain't in your head.
Hallucinate in my head?
The solution.
Oh, the solution is not in my head.
Right. It's in your hands.
Okay, that's my goal.
The hands and the heart.
and sounds like your art.
Yes.
This is the church. This is the steeple. Open the door and see all the people. So
So
High Play is a book called Homo Ludens.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to do a series of play shops. Nobody would come. So I said, I need to market it different. I said, playing our way through the pain. Hell, everybody started coming.
It's a great.
But they don't have time to play.
That's right.
Time is money, right?
That's right. Time is money.
Well, I have a master's in the arts. So time is art.
I like that.
You can have all the money in with the billions and become a king like the Rothschilds.
Yeah.
They make
I know.
big bucks on wars.
Yeah, I'd like to share just one thing on the money aspect of it.
Go
Just-
ahead.
It's real quick on the soul of money, and that Lynn Twist goes into it. But effectively, when she was in the early stage of learning to raise money, she was called into a something in New York. I don't know what they call it anyhow, but it was where a lot people's friends came, very, very rich, and billionaires were walking around and all of that. And she gave her speech about self-sufficiency and all of that. And she said, "Oh God, I just insulted the whole crowd." And as she was walking down from her presentation, two guys called her and said, "We want to talk to you." And she said, "Oh shit, I'm in trouble now." And took him took said, would you mind coming into this room with us, and we will discuss this with you." He said, "Look, both of us are billionaires. That's B, not M. We're billionaires. We own a lot of sports teams and things like that, and we just have the best time." And he said, before coming over here, we just got in a fight over the distribution of $500,000, how it should be distributed. And he said, "Now you have to remember that $500,000 is our chump change." But he said, "We didn't realize when they heard her talking about enough is enough." And he says, "With our billions of dollars between us, we were not living in that poverty, but it's not enough." And that's one of the good, interesting things about that Soul of Money. She has all kinds of really good examples. On the flip side, it's like uh, she went to raise money at a basement church, which was black and uh, very poor thing. And what she was working with was the one over that was feeding hungry and children in Africa. And you know, she went through her spill and all of this. And one woman stood up and after it, she says, you know, "I want to donate $10. And because of that, Lynn Twist, who had just really started raising money, had sent $100,000 contribution that was given really on court order. And she said there was more love and everything else. And what that woman was really doing, and the sacrifice she was making with her 10. So she just sent that check back to that guy and said, "I couldn't take it with the spirit that you gave it." And it was a company, I think it was 200,000. But anyhow, so he just took it back. And about 3 years later, I took a workshop from her later after not my first experience with her. And she was just kind of filling me in on stuff. And she said, that guy came back and gave, I forget the number, but almost doubled what check he gave, what he had the company give him. But this was out of his pocket. So you had three billionaires, three nasty heirs, taking that in. So I really just want to explain it's a very powerful concept and book. I really recommend.
Yeah.
I can't wait to read it.
Well, you can buy it, but you gotta read it.
I'm gonna try and not buy it on Amazon. What do you
Don't
think?
buy anything from.
I know,
Jeff
I'm
Bezos.
also trying not to spend any money on Amazon anymore.
He's trying to get
What do
my
you got?
business. I said, well,
Well,
competition's addiction. I don't compete. I refer people to other drum companies.
do you have Soul of Money in your bookstore now?
What's that?
You have Soul of Money in your store now?
Yeah, I mean, I have it in my own personal library.
Oh, okay.
That's how I get books. Bob will say, have you read Lynn Twist's book? I said, no, but I'll buy it and read it. I actually read the books. I just
I
didn't.
was just going to say, there's just a few books that I've read that I consider giveaways, and one of them's Braiding Sweetgrass,
Yep.
and then there's one that's a Buddhist kind of based one.
This one?
Yeah, the Tree of Life is yes, but that was given to everybody when we
That one
first
over there.
did that. but the one on radical acceptance, and there's one called radical acceptance, which is making room for what's going on. I can't it's hard to explain, and I know we're running out of time. I don't want to go over, but that one, and then I was going to say I'd love to give you a book because I'd like to share a book that I think is important. So send me a bill. Just give her a book of Lynn Twist. Does that work for y'all?
If I find it,
Okay, but just
I want her to read the November prayer
make her read it first.
from the full moon on November 5th. And we'll have 7 classes. This is the first. So we'll be here next week.
So
And I'm looking for followers. Go on my website.
the November prayer, Thanksgiving prayer of the Haudenosaunee Nation. Did I say that right?
That's a tribe.
We return thanks to our mother, the earth, which sustains us. We return thanks to the rivers and streams, which supply us with water. We return thanks to all herbs, which furnish medicines for the cure of our diseases. We return thanks to the moon and the stars, which have given us their light when the sun was gone. We return thanks to the sun that has looked upon the earth with a beneficent eye. Lastly, we return thanks to the Great Spirit, in whom is embodied all goodness and who directs all things for the good of her children.
Beautiful.
So this is called Living in Gratitude, and I'm grateful for my daughter here. I love her so much.
And just one last thing on my side. I don't know. Have you received a copy of the Buffalo Prayer? Pat, I don't know if you still giving that out or not.
Sure, I'll give her a copy.
Okay.
That's White Buffalo Calf Woman.
Yeah, it's really it's really been probably the most important prayer I've ran across because I carry so much baggage left over from religions that I was associated with. Like, this is one that I can say that I consider it was a perfect prayer for me because it doesn't make any assumptions. It doesn't say about the directions. It's just a request that you do things in different ways. And I'll let you read it. It's a fast read. It's 2 pages.
Beautiful.
Well, we'll talk more next time. We don't want to go too much over. Let's stop the recording. We're still talking.
Well, you
Join us next week.
If you want to.
Okay, I will.
Or put thumbs down for all my stuff.